Okay guys, I'm going to give you guys some practice on synthetic division. I'm not using questions straight from the homework because they shouldn't take you very long, but these are some practice questions that will give you some step-by-step instructions, and you can learn from these if you need some help. So our first f of x, or our first function, is a cubic. It has all its terms, so we're not going to have to fill any of those in with zeros. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make sure we set up our synthetic division box. We're going to make sure that we use the coefficients from each of these terms. Those are what are going to go along this first row right here. All right, so our first coefficient is a 1 from that 1x cubed. Then we have a 2 from that 2x squared. We've got a negative 9 from that negative 9x, and we have a negative 18. Okay, and since we're dividing our f of x by x minus 3, we also have to point out that if this is our x minus a in this case is 3. So we're dividing this whole thing by 3, and remember a goes right there outside our box. And now after that, we are just going to start solving. So I'm going to use blue to solve here. Bring down our 1, and then we multiply. 1 times 3 is 3. Then we add. 3 plus 2 is 5. Then we multiply. 5 times 3 is 15. Then we add again. Negative 9 plus 5 is 6. 6 times 3 is 18. And negative 18 plus 18 is 0. So this is where we have to start identifying what each of these terms go with. What is this term? What coefficient does this belong to? Well, we know that what we get at the end is our remainder. So we're going to have a remainder of 0. So that means that this is going to be our constant, which means that this term next to it is our x to the first term, and then this is our x squared term. All right, so our final answer is x squared plus 5x plus 6, and we do not have a remainder. So when we divide this f of x by x minus 3, we get this quadratic right here. Now we could continue to factor this to find the other two factors, but we know that we found one root, and that root is the point x equals 3, or the point 3, 0. So we found one root. There are two more roots, so if you want to find those, go ahead. All right, but that's one that works out. So when we get a remainder of 0, it's just like long division. We found a root, and that root is x equals 3, or in this case, this a, which equals 3. All right, next one. We're going to do one more example. We've got a function g of x, and it equals 2x to the fourth minus 3x squared plus x minus 1. And what you're going to notice about this one is that we have a quartic. We are missing our x to the third term. So when it's time for us to set up our synthetic division, we have to remember that that has to be a 0. So we have a 2. Well, that's going to be in front because that's our x to the fourth. We are missing what would be an x to the third term. So we have to make sure that we account for that with a 0. Then we have a negative 3 for our x squared. We've got a 1 and a negative 1. All right. We're going to divide this thing, g of x, by x plus 2. And in this case, if this is our x minus a is negative 2. So the negative 2 goes out here. And then we are just doing some synthetic division. Bring down the 2. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. 0 plus negative 4 is negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 2 is 8. 8 plus negative 3 is 5. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. 1 plus negative 10 is negative 9. Negative 9 times negative 2 is 18. And negative 1 plus 18 is 17. So again, we remember that this is our remainder. So we're going to work backwards. This negative 9 is going to be our constant. This 5 is going to have our x to the first term. This negative 4 is our x squared term. And then this 2 is our x to the third term. So our answer is 2x cubed minus 4x squared plus 5x minus 9 remainder 17. And that is our answer. All right. So we did not find a root, obviously, because we have a remainder. Just like with long division, if we get a remainder that isn't 0, then we don't have a root. So these are much like the questions on the homework. They are not the questions from the homework, but they will help you guys. Good luck, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.